5 tips, and we've all been there, to never fail another planche set again. Let's get started. First thing you need to do to never fail another planche set again is to prime yourself. Priming is a method of preparation where you get your body mentally and physically prepared for a specific activity, exercise, or sport. It usually occurs in stages, usually with lower intensity, and then increasing very slowly until you get to the intensity you want, where you're prepared for the activity, exercise, or sport that you're going to be performing. You see this a lot in weightlifting and powerlifting, where, for example, in the bench press, you see someone start off with just the bar, then they add weight incrementally, increasing the intensity of the exercise until they hit their working sets. You can think of priming as part of your warm-up, however, it's a little bit different to get it perfectly correct. For example, as part of the planche warm-up, I recommend you do 3 things. You increase your body temperature, you increase your heart rate, and you go through your range of mobility. So, for example, you'll do skipping rope or burpees to increase your heart rate and body temperature, and then you do all your wrist circles, your wrist warm-ups, shoulder warm-ups to go through the mobility part of the exercise that you will need for the planche, because you will need that range of motion. However, of course, after just doing burpees or skipping rope to increase your body temperature, you're not going to be prepared to do the planche. The planche is a lot of stress on the tendons and the shoulders, and these exercises that are part of your warm-up are not specific enough to warm up for the planche, so you need other exercises as well, and this is where priming comes in. So let's get into how I prime myself for my planche sets, and I did this throughout my planche journey, and I think this really stopped me from failing a lot of my sets. And you know the sets I'm talking about, those sets where it feels like you're ready to go, you're going to hold a good planche, then you get to it and you just sink straight down. It's really disheartening, but after I started doing this priming method, I was able to stop those failed planche sets. So to prime ourselves for the planche, we're going to do planche leans about 3 sets of 5 reps. And remember, this is going to be very low intensity the first set, and then each set you're going to lean a little bit more, protract a little bit more. The goal here is to visualize yourself in that full planche or whatever progression you're trying to hold. You're going to visualize and you're going to feel your muscles activating. Remember to fully protract, and all the cues, all the other cues you've learned and you know you should be doing, that's what you're going to be thinking about. That's the whole point of the priming, is to get yourself mentally ready as well as physically ready. After you've done those 3 sets of planche leans, you're then going to do 1 set of a planche progression that is about 20% of your max progression hold, and then you're going to do a set which is about 40% of your max progression hold, and I'll explain what that means in just a second. But these are going to be planche progressions that basically you're not going to increase in fatigue at all, but it is going to help prepare your body. You are going to feel more warmed up doing these. So what this means is, if you can full planche, your first set is going to be advanced tuck, and then your second set is going to be a few seconds of straddle. If your max hold is a few seconds of the straddle planche, then your first set is going to be tuck planche and then advanced tuck planche, but only a few seconds, just to get a feel for the movement and a feel for the planche. If your max hold is a couple seconds of the advanced tuck, your first set is going to be quite a far planche lean, and then your second set is going to be a good form tuck planche for just a couple seconds. And if your max hold is a couple seconds of the tuck planche, then you're just going to stick to planche lean holds, hold them for a couple seconds, leaning quite far, not building up too much fatigue though. Remember, this is not part of your workout, this is just priming, so you're just getting ready and getting used to leaning over your shoulders so you can prepare for that tuck planche. The second way to never fail another planche set again is to think about your space. Not only does your space determine how you enter into some of your planche sets, but it can also determine how you set up your parallettes and what exercise you can perform. So that could mean that your space is making you miss out on some good exercises that could help you progress to that full planche a lot quicker. Let's talk about the space around your parallettes, and this is mainly going to be for you guys that are learning the straddle planche. I've noticed, and from looking at people, that if there's stuff lying about, for example a sofa nearby, while you're trying to do the straddle planche specifically, it can really mess with how far you spread your legs in terms of mobility. You know, one side might be further to the side just to avoid stuff that's around you. So make sure you have a clear space, especially if you're learning the straddle planche. Not only that, but you're missing out on great exercises if you don't have this space, such as planche swings. This is something I did near the end of my workouts because I was able to get into that full planche position when I was a bit more fatigued, so I didn't have to hold it statically. I could use momentum to help me. And this is something, of course, the full planche is the end goal, so we want to train in that full planche position sometimes. So guys, make sure you have the space to get in these positions and use exercises like planche swing. The last thing I want to talk about is your parallettes and the space between them. You want to make sure that in your training you're always placing them in the same spot. So mark it out, do whatever you have to do, use your forearm to measure it out if you need to, but don't go too wide where you're training your wide planche, because you're going to be able to exert less force into the bars. You're going to be training that wide planche, which is a little bit harder. It's a different skill. And then also don't bring them too narrow, because you're going to have to lean a bit more. It causes a bit more force and torque on the shoulder, which is a little bit harder to hold as well. So don't go too narrow as well. Shoulder width, figure it out where's good for your build, but make sure you're doing these consistent sets. The third tip to help you never fail another planche set again is equipment. There are a few things in my workouts that I always use to help me get prepared for my planche sets, and they really help me perform at my best, to help me get those consistent sets and, more importantly, not fail those sets. These are things like wrist wraps, chalk, headphones, elbow sleeves, all these things that help put your mind at ease. So if you have a little niggle, you know, if you have like a little bit of wrist pain, a little bit of elbow pain, you can put these things on and then focus on your sets so you don't fail them down to those other things. So guys, if you need equipment, go to the Gore Nation website, check out the equipment. They've got all you need. They've got the wrist wraps, they've got elbow sleeves, all of that. Use the code JACK10 and then get whatever equipment you need. So equipment is something you really need to think about. Even parallettes, if you don't have parallettes, then try and get some of those as well. The fourth tip to help you never fail another planche set again is recovery. Arguably, I should have put this tip right at the start of the video, because this is probably the most important tip to help you never fail another planche set. Your recovery is more important sometimes than your actual workouts. You get stronger in your recovery stage, not really in your workouts. Your workouts are just for creating a stimulus, but the recovery is actually where you build that tissue back up and come back stronger. So your recovery is so important, guys. Don't neglect it. So you need to be making sure that you have the stuff that's going to help you recover on lock. These are going to be things like your diet, your sleep, any supplements you need. If you can optimize your recovery, then you can get more workouts in a week and, well, basically boost your progression by 2 times. The things that really helped me with my recovery was getting a massager. This is kind of shiatsu massager that you can just put on your back. I sometimes put this on my back while I'm editing. It's able to massage you, knead out those knots so you're less tight. So make sure that you're working on your flexibility as well on those rest days, those days you aren't training. These are all things that are going to help with your recovery, and if you can come back with more mobility, you are going to increase how quickly you can get the planche. The fifth and final thing that's going to help you never fail another planche set again is mindset. Whatever you can do before your workout to get your mind in the zone, to help get focused and zone in, you know, forget all the other worries in life and just focus on your workout. You need to do that before your workouts. Whether it's pre-workout to get the energy, whether it's watching those motivational planche, you know the ones, the planche journey videos on YouTube. Whatever it is to help you get in the zone. For me, it's music. Listening to really aggressive music is what gets me in the zone. It helps me forget everything so I can focus on my planche sets. You need the right mindset getting into those planche workouts, because really they require a lot of energy, so you can't really go into them very low energy. Now that you know how to never fail another planche set again, you're probably going to want more tips for other calisthenic skills, and in this video I go through every calisthenic skill, give one tip for each, so you'll definitely find one that you'll use.